Welcome back. Let's put this in the ether. Woman will switch up on you without any reason, right? This is why it's hard to trust a woman, right? Remember my videos? I made a video about characters, of how important character is, and you have to be a person of character for people to trust you, right? Now, women, right? It's hard for women to have character because they have mood swings, right? This is why it's hard for men to trust a woman these days, right? It's hard for men to pick a mate because their mood changes all the time. You don't know what to expect because their mood changes all the time, right? They switch up their character. They put a different face on every time, depending on their mood, depending on the situations, right? This is why it's hard for men, some men out there, to have trust that have trust issue with women, right? Some men out there have trust issue with women because they don't know what to expect. This is why women, like I made the comparison in my previous video, that women are usually liberals or Democrats, because when it comes to liberals and Democrats, that they switch up characters all the time. Liberals and Democrats are basically hypocrites, right? They're hypocrites. They don't know what they mean. They don't mean what they say. They switch up on you all the time. This is why majorities of liberals and Democrats, they mainly have female energy, right? Female energy. What do I mean by that? They switch up a lot. They switch up in the mind because a woman is a person is a person of emotions, and they switch up in there. They go through emotion daily, like bam, 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 bam. They switch up in emotions. They're like an emotional roller coaster. And when you're on an emotional roller coaster, right? You're like you're on edge all the time as a man. Some men are on edge all the time because it's like walking on an eggshell. You gotta be careful what you say, how you say it. Be careful what you say, or else it's at the end of the line for these men out there. All right, this is why some men are hard to trust. This is why some men don't want to date liberal women. It's like walking on an eggshell. It's like a landmine, right? And most likely the relationship will not work. Right? There are examples. I'm not saying it's entirely out there, right? There are men out there who's willing to put up with the abuse of being with a liberal woman, and those are beta man cucks. Those are simps, basically, in my opinion. That's what I think, and I am entitled to it. But anyway, let's back to what I was saying. Women will switch up on you for no reason because of who they are, because of how their mind works, all right? Because of their emotions. Some women out there do not handle their emotion well. They're a creature of habit. You gotta expect this, right? Their emotion always changes, right? They're not consistent with their emotion. A man of character, they know how to control their emotions, right? They're not dictated by their emotions. But for women, I can't blame them, because you cannot blame a woman. You can't hate a woman because this is how they are. They are created like that because they are emotional creatures. Without their emotions, right? Without their emotion, they do not have compassions, right? The thing with women is they're too compassionate. At a certain point, because of they're too compassionate, they're prone to things like Stockholm syndrome, sympathize with their enemies, right? They sympathize with their enemies and not realizing who are their enemies in situations, right? This is why you have to control your emotion. You don't want to sympathize with the enemy. They are your enemy for a reason. Why would you want to sympathize with them? Your enemy could cost you your life, right? That's why you're not supposed to be prone to your emotion. This is why I have a friend, right? He's a veteran. I'm not saying I don't want to say anything disparaging about him, but he was a Vietnam veteran, right? He got dishonorable discharge because he refused to listen to his sergeant, right? He refused to listen to his sergeant because he's a Vietnam veteran, right? His sergeant told him to kill those people, right? He refused because it's an old grandma and a kid, right? He refused to kill him. So what happened to him? He got relinquished, or he got dishonorable discharge, right? And he don't get no benefit because he disobeyed his captain, right? He disobeyed. The reason why, I mean, at least he stand by his principle. He don't want to kill, but you're in the army, bro. You're gonna have to when you sign for army. What does that entail? That means that you have to kill. There's no question. You have to kill, because if you don't know how to understand your enemy, no matter what they look like, no matter if they're a child or a grandma, right? Those people could be they could jeopardize your platoon life. You put your men in danger because you disobey, right? And this is during the Vietnam War. when you don't know who's your enemy at all, right? This is guerrilla warfare 101, right? Anybody had a gun are potential enemies, right? So by him disobeying his captain, right, he put his platoon in jeopardy, right? I understand there's a good side and bad side, right? He's a person of his character, so I gotta respect him for that. He don't wanna kill, but at another time you can't join the army and not expect to kill, because that comes with the territory, right? It comes with the territory not disobey your sergeant, no matter if the sergeant is morally right or wrong, because the sergeant make a decision to determine that these kind of people might determine whether you go back home alive or dead. All right, but I go back in the story. But this is an example that you just cannot, you just cannot sympathize with your enemy due to your emotions. All right. Now, women, yeah, because your emotions. Your emotion, if you don't know how to handle it correctly, will lead you to your despair, to lead you to your death, right? And women who don't know how to handle their emotion well, they're usually in a worse relationship, right? They put the relationship in the worst situations possible, right? Because they don't know how to handle the emotion. They don't know what emotion to pick. I'm not saying I'm not saying women should not be emotionless, right? Because there are times you have to show some kind of emotion, because we are human. We are creature with emotion. But yet again, we have to understand that our emotion could either make us or break us, right? And for a man to not able to handle his emotions, because a man, everything is survival. Everything a man do is all about survival, right? Women, they look for men as survival object. That's why men are not easily swayed by their emotions, right? But the women will switch up their emotion easily because they have so much thing going on in their head, right? When they have so much thing going on in their head, this is what turn off a lot of guys. It turns off a lot of guys because they don't want to deal with that. It's inconsistency. Guys do not like inconsistencies. Guys like consistency. Guys like a routine, right? He like to do things, right? Guys they don't like to change things. That's why a lot of guys, when they find a good barber, they don't change their barber. They usually stick with their barber. They don't switch up and go to another barber to cut his hair. He find a good barber, he stick with it. Right? He like a certain hairstyle, he stick with it. Right? Women change their hair all the time. They have different stylists, different hairstyle. That means they're not consistent. That means they're what? Not spontaneous. That means you don't know what to expect. They're like a wild card, right? They're unpredictable, right? They switch up a lot. Guys don't like that, right? Guys, it only bring more drama to a guy's life, right? Guys don't like. This is why a lot of women like to do spontaneous things. Right? And most guys don't understand that. That's why they get into this messed up relationship, and women divorce them because they don't understand how female works. This is why it's so important for men out there to understand female nature. This is female nature, right? The switching up of the mood and mindset. This is also part of female nature, and guys just don't understand. They lack that ability. This is not what a lot of guys have been taught up. Right? So you have to understand that women will switch up their emotion on you so quick. You need to pick up on it. Right? You need to make your boundary known that you'll accept something you're not willing to accept. Right? Because if you don't, these kind of things will destroy a man. Right? It will put a man in vulnerable positions because of her not knowing how to handle her emotions. Right, and put on that energy to you. This is why a guy should not talk about their emotion to a woman. They could use that against them. Right, a man are not be stoic. Basically, right. Just be emotionless. Right. I'm not saying don't be compassionate. Right, there are time and place. Right, but just be stern with yourself and understand the weak points and the strong points of having emotions. All right, don't just be blind. Don't be one sided of how emotion works. There could be a good side and bad side. But again, when it comes to women, they usually do not know how to handle emotion well. They're very emotional creatures, right? So they cry up easily. But on that note, guys, if I've missed something, let me know in the comment. On that note, guys, peace and blessings.